Hey there, it seems to be that time of year when I've noticed that people have just started asking me quite a few questions again about my rocket stove that I built, what is it, probably 4 years ago, is it? I don't know. That is it, basically. Now 12 months ago I did another riser tube modification rebuild where I used fire bricks around the bottom to form the actual base, and that's where most of the heat occurs in these things. And then what I'd used the year before was a vermiculite sort of casing, and I literally put that on top of the fire bricks just to see how it would hold up. Well, I've used it for the last 12 months and I'm going into 2 years use on it now. I've not really been burning it a lot lately, but it's now come time to start using it. So I took a look inside the riser, got my torch in there, had a shine, had a look. Everything looks utterly fantastic, just like I put it together last year. If anything, maybe the top edge of this vermiculite has just flaked away slightly. That doesn't really matter to me, and it doesn't affect the operation. So I normally take this top off every year, have a look inside. There's usually something to fettle, but this year there really isn't anything to fix, because that riser tube is still performing and working fantastic. So it's definitely the most robust riser I've built so far. I do think that vermiculite top wants replacing. What I will do is most likely cast a top, a couple of sections to drop on top of there, and maybe cast 3 and I keep one in spare, so when one goes I can literally just drop them on top of each other. They don't need cementing on, just putting in place. It's easy for me to just kind of forget how good this stove is, because, you know, with using it all day in winter you kind of get used to it, used to its performance. But really, when I think back to my other rocket stoves, this thing is just amazing. It really is. Within sort of 10 to 15 minutes of lighting it, you can feel the temperature change in this workshop in the air. It just physically lifts the temperature. When I'm using it, I'm not looking for roasting, searing temperatures on the heat exchanger. I'm just looking for a really nice steady heat around 250 degrees. If I start getting this exchanger above that temperature, I'm literally wasting fuel, because the workshop just starts getting too hot and I have to open the door. So this on a very gentle burn will keep this shop at around 20 to 25 degrees, which is, I don't know, what's that, guys, 70, 80 Fahrenheit, probably a whole day on just a couple of fuelings, 3 at the most. You know, that'll run me for 8 or 9, 10 hours, that. And you kind of forget that when you're using it all the time, just how efficient, just how much heat this thing's putting out. The other modification I did last year, I extended the exhaust for the flue out into the forging room. And although it doesn't provide a massive amount of heat in there, you really do feel the difference. It'll lift the temperature in there when it's really cold by about 5-6 degrees. So just that little bit of flue makes a huge difference in there, you know. Well, I'm going to light it, guys, once again. I feel like I can light it today. The temperature today, it's around 12 degrees outside. I don't know what we've got today. 14 centigrade in here. With your Fahrenheit, 32 Fahrenheit today. Let's get it lit anyway. I'll show you lighting it. I'll show you a few little quirks this thing's got when it comes to lighting it. And I'll give you a look down into the riser tube while it's burning. That glass has got a little frosted over the years of use. It does anyway. One of this stoves, oh, by the way, this is something I've got to absolutely do in the next week or so. The gasket material has just fallen to bits. I need to order some new gasket material to go around the door. Other than that, there's not an issue with the stove. You can see the lining. I may have replaced it last year, I can't remember, but it's perfectly sound, it's perfectly good, it's beautiful, and that's mostly vermiculite, I think. That stuff, yeah, it is. Just vermiculite board, held up really well. So one of the quirks with this stove is, because it's warmer in the workshop than it is outside, this stove kind of does have a tendency to draw back. So it sort of pulls air in through the flue system, and it pulls it back this way. So it's easy when you light it for the flames and the smoke to just come straight out the firebox rather than going down the riser. And it's just a peculiarity of this build, and I think maybe the extended flue and things like that. And it's quite easy to counteract that. All I have to do is put a piece of paper almost directly into the mouth of the riser tube, you know, a piece of lit paper, and that's all it needs. It just needs a little bit of heat putting into the riser to start the drawing process. It needs to run a little bit of heat through the flue, because the flue in that room will be really cold, so it's kind of not drawing, you know. So I just put a piece of paper in there. Before I do anything else, I just let that riser heat up, and I let a bit of heat get through the flue system and start running up through the chimp, through the flue outlet on top. You see already that's starting to pull now. I can sort of hear it rocketing. The gaskets fell in now. Yeah, that's pulling now, guys. See, you can see there's no smoke coming out of the firebox. I'll get a couple more papers in now. Start putting a few sticks in. It really is better to put some real thin sticks in that will catch easily. Because what I want to do is I want to get as much heat into that riser straight off as I can do, so I don't get this kind of burning back out the firebox thing going on. Can you maybe hear that now? It's pulling well. It's pulling well up the riser, that. It's doing good. There's no real wind today, it's almost flat calm outside. I'll just keep laying these sticks in right in the mouth or the entrance to the riser, just making sure that that heat starts going up there, because it can, I've noticed a few times, you can get the riser warm, then the sticks start burning in here, and it can kind of stall, and then it starts smoking back out. So once I get the wood burning and the flames are going that way into the riser, I know I'm good. Right, sort of now really, I know that's not going to burn back. Stack them up so that I can get plenty of oxygen between them all. Get them burning. I don't want to clog up the mouse. I don't want to clog up the mouth of the riser, so I'll always kind of leave a hole there where the air can run in with the gases and everything that's burning. The secondary air supply is closed off at the moment, because I just want it pulling from this end and not from anywhere else. Yeah, again, that helps with that burn back thing situation that you get going on. So now I'll start laying a few pieces of wood in. We're getting a bit of flame coming out now, but you would get that anyway from an open fire, burning straight up. Actually burns a lot better now. As soon as you enclose the top like this, it forces the flame through, and once the riser starts getting hot, it literally causes a great draft through the stove then. I'll just show you into the riser top, guys, because we can still see it at the moment. It's not too hot up here. So that's us just lit. And I won't stop the camera here, I'll just keep this running in real time so I can give you some temperature readings. Now if I let this fire burn and burn and burn and keep adding fuel, that spiral, or that heat spiral, flame spiral, will actually exit right at the top of the riser tube. So it'll continue up, and I think that really is just wasting fuel when it does that, because the exchanger in the top can only reach a certain temperature anyway, and any more than that, you're just pushing heat straight out the flue system, which is, in my opinion, just wasted heat. So yeah, they've only just started burning, those sticks, as you can see, just right at the front there. We've not even got to the sticks at, you know, the sticks at the back here aren't burning. It's literally just that front section at the moment. Well, let's have a look at it, some temperature readings now. What was it before? Was it 14 degrees? I think it was, wasn't it? 53 now. Oh, 90 there. 176 Fahrenheit. 198 Fahrenheit. You can see this going up with 200 Fahrenheit now, and the rest of the sticks have just started to catch underneath. These sides here, these sides heat up quicker than the top. If you watch the building of this, or maybe the year after I'd built it, or an amendment, was I welded a huge saw blade underneath this to stop this top buckling, because it's only about 3-4 millimeters thick, this top. Ideally it should have been maybe 8-10 millimeters, but yeah, it did buckle, and welding the saw blade under that stopped that. It prevented that extreme heat hitting the top. 218, 220, 238 Fahrenheit, 115 centigrade. And what I'll do, guys, I'll sneak that top off, because I think my camera will be able to see in there before it gets too hot. So I'll push that glass off, and then you can have a proper look in it. And I can see now that the flames are just reaching the top of this here. I don't know if the camera can see or not. The flames are at the top of the riser tube. Put that back, we're getting a bit smoked out here. Well, not smoked out, gases. Glittering, there's no real smoke coming out of that, as you can see. If you can wear with that, but I can, you know, I can smell the gases coming off it. Yeah, can you see the flame there? Maybe you can. That glass will take, it's clearing now actually. That glass will take just a few minutes to clear off. See what's going on in here. Now got all the fuel alight. I've had to replace the cowl, the spinning cowl. The wind was so severe one night, it must have been spinning around at 200 miles an hour, and it completely smashed it to bits. So I found it on my workshop roof. Anyway, it was a simple fix that. I just took it off and re-riveted it all together, and it's back on working fine now. It does help, that spinning cowl, it really does help. You know, it makes a huge difference when it's raining, when it's windy. It gives a lovely directional pull to this stove. It does actually create lift. It's a really good flue, that. It's a really good cowl, that. Now you can see that kind of resin, that really smelly resin has burnt now, so we've got a nice clean burn going on. $214, and it started putting heat into the top now. 160. You know, guys, this sort of temperature now, sort of 200 degrees. This is where this is the temperature I'll burn the stove at all day, because this exchanger is so big. It produces tons and tons of heat in this room. It's just, you know, it's like having I've said this before. It's kind of like having a 10 foot by 3 foot radiator producing 200 degrees. And it really does just get overbearing in this shop, which is roughly 25 foot by 25 foot by 8 foot. They're the dimensions. not particularly well insulated. It has got a plywood lining on a single brick wall, and that is it. So now normally what I will do, I'll pile a few more little sticks in there now. That's all I need really. Save them few sticks there for tomorrow. And I'll put a few bigger pieces of wood in now. Sort of like that. One of them. A few bits off my old pear tree, which are now almost dry. Maybe that one, if it'll go in. Yeah. So that's it. And that is the fire stoked for approximately, what, 2 hours. And as this starts, I can feel the temperature difference in the shop now already, just while I've been filming this video. 160 on the top, 215 on the front, 218, 15, which is 424 Fahrenheit. It's enough, it really is enough. You don't need this thing raging and burning away fiercely. It's just really nice at that. There we go guys, fire lit for the day. I will load it with one more load of fuel like that, maybe in 2 hours, and that'll be my burn for the day. Workshop will be nice and warm. Now guys, I'll give you one last look in the riser before I go. We're getting a build up of flame in there now from that fuel. See it exiting the top there. Beautiful vortex. You can see the colours start to change now actually in the riser tube, can't you? It's getting more heat and more heat and more heat. The bottom certainly. And this is when they burn really at the most efficient now, these stoves. Getting very hot there, fellas. Very, very hot. So I am going to do another experimental rocket build. I think probably before November's out for sure. I promised my patrons I'd do that, one or two in particular. You know who you are. So thank you to my patrons. Thanks everyone who subscribes, watches and likes and comments and everything. If you got any questions, please just drop us a question in the comments below. I'll see you all soon fellas. Bye for now.